Hey everyone, how you doing? Gamble the Clown here. Thank you for tuning in to this very, very special episode. A very special episode where we are going to be talking about veterans like myself. Yes, I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps and U.S. Army, and I just increased my membership to the local VFW post to a lifetime membership, which means that I get the amazing benefits and fellowship of other veterans for the rest of my life. Not only is it really cool that I get the fellowship for the rest of my life with other veterans in various branches, Marine Corps, like myself, U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Army, U.S. Coast Guard in Vietnam. But we get what is called the VFW Auxiliary. Yes, which is the families of our beloved veterans. Yes, now it is great if you are a family of a veteran of a foreign war, going all the way back to, let's say, your grandparents fought in World War II. You can go to vfwauxiliary.org and join up to receive the care and attention that the family of veterans deserves. Now, the VFW is set up in response to how well our veterans were treated by our United States government after the close of World War One. So there is a amazing benefit that we have as veterans of a foreign war where we get to fellowship and care for each other veterans, but the primary focus is not only our veterans next to us, but the families of our veterans, our lovely widows and orphans that are struggling dealing with the separation that war brings. So a little history about the veterans of foreign wars. It began shortly after everybody came back from World War One. Now, one of the crazy things that happened in World War One is they had a lot of problems getting our youth to go fight overseas. So what they were doing, our government was promising our youth war bonds, where they would owe us money when we came back from war. Well, that didn't happen when we came back. Obviously, yes. Surprise, surprise, that the government did not pay the bills they owe our veterans. So what ended up happening is the veterans of World War One started marching themselves and camping outside of Washington, demanding the money that the government owes them. This led to the government telling General Douglas MacArthur and his 1st Infantry Division to march on our own troops and disperse them. This also led to the formation of the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the Department of Veterans Affairs, which is the basic focus is, you know, healthcare and things of that nature for veterans, where the VFW primarily was set up as a legislative pressure group, where we were supposed to be pressuring our legislators and making sure that they act accordingly, that they pass laws and acts and different ways that veterans are supposed to be cared for. Well, that never happens. So you can go to vfw.org, which is the main page, to look at all of the legislative actions that we are uh, pressuring members of Congress to do. Now, a little story about what got me involved with the VFW. There was a member of our post. His name is Joe. Really cool guy, a whole lot of classic cars. Uh, and he said the story that, for whenever the VFW members are present, can be present at Congress for all of our speeches that we give, that the heads of the VFW gives to Congress. As many veterans can fit in there as possible to see all this happening in real time. So one of the congressmen stands up, and Joe was present at this event. One of the congressmen stands up and says, I quote, "We thought you guys were a bunch of geriatric gin suckers. It's great to see the list of all of the things you guys are doing for the community." So then, all the way back in the audience, a man whistles for somebody, motions for somebody to bring a microphone back to him. He's in a wheelchair. He holds himself up by his arms, grabs the microphone, and says, "Mr. Congressman, I hope that your seat is comfortable." Whoa. I would not like to have been that congressman. But the VFW plays a very, very important role for our veterans. Now, I don't exactly know how much that the government is listening to our legislative actions, but it's very important for us to have that voice before Congress to put pressure on our government to make sure that we get the care and the benefits that we deserve. VFW members who are doing the hard work in Washington, putting pressure on our government and making sure that our veterans get the care and respect they deserve. So, changing topics a little bit today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the events I have coming up in April. On April 3rd, it is a Friday. I'll be clowning around at a local retirement home. One of the things that I really enjoy doing is clowning around for free at retirement homes because a lot of the retirement home residents don't often get to see family. They really enjoy entertainment. And if I'm funny, they will laugh and have a great time. So that is April 3rd. I'm doing an event there. The next week, April 12th, is on a Saturday. I will be at Gaston Brewery in Fayetteville. Again, I'm always in Fayetteville, and Jacksonville, entertaining our active duty troops. And Saturday, April 12th is no different. I'll be at Gaston Brewery in Fayetteville all day long, entertaining the troops, really having a great time, reaching out to our active duty troops and some civilians and their families, and inspiring children to greatness. Okay, then it will be at the end of the month in April. I'll be clowning around for a private event in Fayetteville at Fort Bragg. Thankfully, we are back to Fort Bragg. Yes. A lot of veterans were very upset about the name change, but it's good that it is changed back to Fort Bragg. This time, not associated with the side of the Civil War that lost, but associated with a brave soldier named Bragg. All right. Big shout out to our government for doing that, I guess. Okay, now, that event is for a group called Army Community Services. It is a group at Fort Bragg that ministers to a lot of families, all the families. Every fort has one. It's called Army Community Services, ACS, and they provide a lot of counseling services, ways for spouses to get involved, ways for families to have activities and deal with the very, very long deployments of our active duty troops overseas. So that is a private event, and it is a celebration for their volunteers. And in July, I'll be doing a public event there for ACS, for active duty troops and their families. So it's very important that we reach out to our active duty troops and families, and that is what I spend most of my time doing, looking for veterans and families and entertaining for free for the most part, for the most uh, point. So, uh, when I entertain for free, it's very important to mention that most people pay me with an audience. So I really enjoy stand up comedy, really enjoy clowning around and entertaining anybody who happens to be there or who happens to get sucked into seeing one of my comedy shows. I do balloons, but that is not exactly the focus. I only do balloons at events where there is a stage and time for me to perform. Uh, so at the end of the month, the last Saturday of the month, I'll be clowning around at my church for their Grand Prix. It's like a wooden cars Grand Prix, like you would see in the Boy Scouts or whatever. I'll be clowning around for that. So stay tuned for that because I'll be doing a really cool video on that as well. A lot of fun for kids, a lot of fun for parents of kids, and a lot of fun for this clown who enjoys clowning around with my church family. So, a lot of events coming up. Stay tuned. A lot of events coming up in May and June, July and August and September and October and November and December as well. A lot of events all year. Stay tuned because sometimes I show up to the park with my mobile uh, voice amp and my microphone, do some random stand up comedy in the park, random clown shows at the park, balloons, and causing general mischief. So, if you have any questions about any of these events, if you are interested in any way to get involved, contact me today. Also, please visit vfw.org if you are a veteran of a foreign war. If you are a family of a veteran of a foreign war, vfwauxiliary.org. And please knock on the doors of your local VFW post, also the American Legion, I'm a member of as well, but your local VFW post, and look for ways you can volunteer, look for ways you can get involved. We spend a lot of time, money, and resources dealing with veterans that are having trouble paying bills, uh, dealing with the day to day issues of transitioning from the military. So it's very, very important that you get involved with your local veterans organization. Again, the websites are vfw.org, vfwauxiliary.org. So get involved with your local veterans organization. This has been a special presentation of the Suburban Sideshow podcast with me, your host, Gamble the Clown, giving some updates this month. And stay tuned for some more hilarious podcast episodes where I'm going to be talking about general silliness and interviewing some of my closest friends, veteran business owners, veterans who have been out of the military for a long time and really interested in learning about the culture when they were in, learning about the 60s, the 70s, learning about Vietnam, Desert Storm, and some of my Iraq veterans as well. Thank you for joining me. I am Gamble the Clown. We will chat later.